this the belief behind setting up a Hiranandani Foundation by you?
A house and a home are two different animals. You have a big palace, but there's no happiness.
I would love to get your views on the new real estate trends, co-working, co-living, student housing. How do you see these concepts evolving over the next couple of years?
You're in the right business. The co-working space, I think, will grow exponentially about 20 to 25% compounded per year for the next 5 years.
What are your views on artificial intelligence and its impact on real estate and urban development?
If there is anybody not using artificial intelligence in the next 2 years, he is going to be out of date.
Welcome to another episode of the Corner Office, where we speak with leaders who have built landmark brands and reshaped industries. Today, I have the honor of welcoming a man who truly needs no introduction, a visionary who has reshaped India's real estate industry and built a legacy that continues to inspire, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, founder and managing director of Hiranandani Group. Sir, welcome to the Corner Office. It's a pleasure and an honor to be hosting you today.
My pleasure too. Thank you for inviting me.
Sir, I believe the early influences in life lay the foundation for extraordinary careers, and yours, I'm sure, is no exception. You come from a family of doctors. Was academics a major focus during your early years? And how did that environment shape your school and college days?
So, I came from a professional family, a family of a father, very eminent doctor, Padma Bhushan, ENT surgeon, was very, very, very eminent. He kind of molded my life in terms of what I am today. In the sense that he came from a poor family. My grandfather died when my father was only 5, brought up by a very poor mother, grew up as a professional life and achieved the zenith. However, my elder brother and my father, both being doctors or studying to be doctors, my elder brother was 10 years older to me. And I found it very difficult to think of myself as a doctor. In the sense, my God, they work so hard. And I don't think I can work as hard as my father and my elder brother. So I decided to take up something else. The second choice happened to be commerce, and so I did commerce. But my father was very particular. He was disappointed that I didn't take medicine. But he was equally concerned that I should have my good academic career. And he kind of influenced me in that. So I did my BCom, stood second in the university. He and a father's close friend, Mr. Nani Palkhiwala, a very famous jurist, he persuaded me, my father and he persuaded me that I should do my chartered accountancy. I did it very reluctantly, but I cleared it. And but at the same time, after BCom, I was very clearly wanting to do the business of business. And so I became the first generation businessman in my families. So yes, the academic thing did influence me. And I was even a teacher in the Institute of Chartered Accountants for some time.
Oh.
So I not only professional, but also a teacher.
Nice. Perfect. And so as you mentioned, you have a degree in chartered accountancy. Then you have a PhD in philosophy, which are two vastly different and very, very distinct fields, very intense as well. And then you moved into real estate. How do you see the experience across different disciplines have shaped your entrepreneurial journey?
Just to give you an idea, I did my PhD when I was 68.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's not that the PhD came early.
Right.
But nevertheless, I think any discipline actually teaches you a way of learning. It's not about what you learned while you were a CA or subsequent to it. I think it's a discipline that comes into you in terms of learning. Number two, I think I learned not only from the discipline of the academic part, but also from my father to continue to learn till today at 75. The idea, and that's how 68 was not too old for me to do my PhD.
Right.
I'll tell you a story. My father at the age of 80 told me one day that I want to go to Germany to learn a new operation. A very famous surgeon, top end of the line, did cancer work and others, great reputation, wanted to go and learn. And when I inquired from him, he was going to learn from a doctor 15 years his junior, and a doctor who had learned an operation from him 10 years before. So one thing has stuck to me, that you have to be a learner all your life.
Right.
And I think along with academic foresight, inquiry, the idea of being a learner all my life has stayed with me. And I think that is the biggest influence of it all. So one, learning academic disciplines do help you in a particular segment. Being a learner all your life actually has benefited me 100 times more.
Right. So this is very interesting. And just out of curiosity, was sports a part of your regular life during your early days?
Yes, my father encouraged me to do swimming and also play squash. So I did a lot of that during my school days and especially my holidays. So I was a part of that. Mm-hmm. But I got fond of these games, and so I did. I did some swimming championships. I won some school trophies, but I wasn't anywhere close to a national or a state player. But I did play and continued to do it till I think at the age of 28, I stopped squash, 28, okay. 30. And I've restarted it about 10 months back. So, the sport stayed with me again, inculcated my youth, and I think I'm still fond of it. So I'd love to play the games.
Nice. So I am a father to a 10-year-old son, and I'm really encouraging my kid to get into sports, individual as well as team sports. So that's where, at least the only thing about parenting I'm doing right now.
Wonderful.
Great. Coming to the next question, not every entrepreneur is privileged to be a chartered accountant, but what do you think are the basic financial and business concepts which every entrepreneur should know before setting up a new business?
I think there are lots of entrepreneurs. India is full of entrepreneurs. And there are people who are uneducated and have been entrepreneurs. And there have been great educated people who are zeros.
Right.
So I think what is really a lesson is that while academics does put you on a platform and gives you a big advantage against any other entrepreneur. So if you're uneducated and you're educated, the educated has a fantastic advantage qua the uneducated. However, to be an entrepreneur is different because you need that fire in the belly, a foresight, a desire to achieve something over there. So if you don't have a desire and you say life is going to be easy for me, I just want to live life, I just need to earn a little bit in order to have a decent life, it's different. But an entrepreneur can be a different person because he aspires to have something which is not so easy as or comfortable as getting an employment, because you are under the umbrella of somebody else's mission and entrepreneurship. So these two aspects are there. But India is a place of great entrepreneurs, educated, uneducated, and otherwise. And I do see that the educated entrepreneurs are now in India flourishing hugely, while earlier I would find uneducated entrepreneurs doing great in the country. Today, the educated entrepreneurs have a leap, far bigger leap, far more directional leap, and the opportunities are more. But to learn to be able to use those opportunities is an academic discipline that helps. So I think those who say academics are not needed for an entrepreneur, not true. You do need it, and the more you have, the better it is. And the other part is people who have that zeal in terms of direction can pick out opportunities and really grow entrepreneurship. And I've seen uneducated people being great entrepreneurs, but they lack that continuity of growth after a certain stage. So a mix of both is really the ideal thing.
Right, right. So real estate is considered as a purely transactional kind of a sector, but it thrives significantly on human connections. Was this the belief behind setting up a Hiranandani Foundation by you?
Well, the group, in terms of the real estate, is often reality. Roti, kapda, makan.
Yes.
These are your needs of what you have. If you had dealing with these three items, there's no end. हर एक को रोटी चाहिए, हर एक को कपड़ा चाहिए, हर एक को मकान चाहिए. So that's never going to end. So whether you have a juggi jopdi or you have an antilla, घर तो चाहिए.
Right.
दाल रोटी खा रहे हैं या ताज में आप बुफे खा रहे हैं या यू आर हैविंग अ ग्रेट मील, खाना खाना है. So roti, kapda, makan, if you are in that business, there is no end to it. And you will always do it. So the man who lived in the cave and the person who lives in multi-storied houses or in a villa or in a bungalow or in a house, we continue to operate it. So the thought of knowing that this is a subject which will never die.
Right.
ये कभी end नहीं आ सकता. और कुछ भी होगा उसका अंत हो सकता है. ये बिजनेस का अंत आ सकता है. But housing will not do. Of course, the type of house that you make from a single-story ground floor structure to a 90-story building is a different technology, different investments, different opportunities, but real estate is there. So that's the first and foremost point. The second is the question of how you really use these spaces of homes and other things. I'm a real estate developer. I more believe that a house and a home are two different animals.
Right.
आपके पास महल है. You have a big palace. But there's no happiness. It's not a home. It's a house. हमारे पास झुग्गी झोपड़ी है. I have a small झुग्गी झोपड़ी. But the family is bonded. We live together. भाई बहन साथ में रहते हैं, बाप बेटे साथ में रहते हैं, बच्चे ग्रैंडचिल्ड्रन भी साथ रहते हैं. And they live in a झुग्गी झोपड़ी. But they are happy. That is a home. So a person may not have a great house, but this. Anyway, it's my job to provide all the houses I can. And I pray that all the people who buy houses from me make homes out of it.
Right.
वो मेरे पर नहीं है. So when people say you're making home, I laugh.
Right.
And I say, yes, मैं घर बनाता हूँ. But they don't realize what's the difference between a house and a home. What a great factor. And many times people say, मैं बड़े घर में जाऊँगा. So I sometimes, smile at myself and then ask them. In my mind, I don't ask them openly. I said, really? लेकिन ये घर तो है, लेकिन is it a home for you? And I think there's a huge difference in learning between the two. And I hope to God that all of us have great homes where we love each other, work with each other, grow up together, and be able to look after our parents when they live and grow old too. I think that's the home.
Great. I love this philosophy, sir. And
I don't say it too often because
Right.
I'm making homes, I'm making houses.
That's it.
So,
Yeah.
and people are there and some people just not making homes out of it.
True.
Too bad for them.
True. I think that also is a very interesting cue to my next question, because now I know why a lot of different generations are resonating very well with you. At this stage of life, you have become an influencer, who is being liked by multiple generations. How does it feel to be liked by all the generations across all age groups?
I really don't know. It's a very difficult question, to be honest. One of the more probably difficult questions to me. I think it's I care for them. I love them. And I love people of all generations. So whether they are old, my parents, or they are my siblings, or they are my children, my grandchildren, or they are my students. In my colleges in Mumbai alone, 14 colleges, I have 45,000 students. I promise you I love them all.
Right.
And I connect with them. The point is, when you care for people, I think you come out differently. When you say I'm an influencer, actually that's not important to me.
Right.
what is important really is that can I give something to them when I speak to them? When I talk to students, to children, to people who are my colleagues, people who work with me in the organization, what is it that we can really create in terms of them? How can I improve the quality of their life? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but you can certainly curate their minds, because the mind is everything, you know. But if you resonate with people of different ages and you care for them equally, irrespective of where or what they are, I think that gives me the connect. Right. Some people call it as being an influencer, but I don't know. I don't look at it from that point of view. And that doesn't really bother me. What does concern me is that I can help people, guide people, mentor people, and I also get mentored by people. And there are times when I learn from people who are younger than me. Children teach me a lot. Children teach me that they can become happy in any circumstances with very little things.
Right.
While we need big things, big cars, big this, big everything in order to be happy. So ridiculous. How can you have big everything every time that you have something? It doesn't work actually in reality. But if you can be happy with what you have and with whatever circumstances are there with you, this thing. So hence, for me to connect with people who are younger, older, and other people, I don't have any difficulty in connection. The word influencers, I don't know why I'm called that.
No, I agree. It's about, creating strong connects. And yes. I think that comes very naturally to you.
It does. Thank you.
Right. Perfect. You have always emphasized that one should focus on creating value and not just profits, right? Now, there's a thin line. How do you think young professionals or entrepreneurs approach this philosophy while they are chasing growth?
In the beginning of life, you can't think of value. You think of growth. You think of income. You think of the minimum that you have. Then there is a stage where you have to learn to create value and not simply growth. I do understand if a person is living in poverty and he or she is told create value, nonsense. It doesn't make sense. उसको खाने पीने के लिए नहीं है और उसको आप value creation की बात कर रहे हो. Out of question. But if you really want to grow in life, the value part of it is extremely important. All companies, corporates who learn to create value are the ones who survive forever. Those who only grow for profits and think they can get away with only creating profits and not value, they will disappear very soon, because there's no way that you can consistently do that. So if an enterprise like Tata's, one of the best examples of creating value, is 150 years plus, it's because they have trust, ethical values, good behavior, right things to do, concern for their employees, concern for their customers, believing trust. Their growth will be perennial. They may not be the biggest.
Right.
They may not be the best, but they are perennial. They cannot die. They will live forever. So when you think about growth, I am for growth, irrespective of anything else, but it's not at the cost of ethical values. It is not at the cost of not creating values. So we would spend a lot of money in order to retain value proposition of a project or things in terms of it, and have ethical values and how we deal with people. And I think that is what creates a brand. So when people say, I'm creating a brand by putting advertisements, by doing this, by doing that, yes, that's wonderful. It works. And it works, but it works temporarily.
Right.
Brand cannot, with unethical means, but great advertisements and great publicity and great expenditure, create value over a period of time. Right. You can do it instantly. You can dole out money, spend fantastic amounts of money, and and be a brand at that point of time and do whatever you want to do. But stay with it, create a value proposition, be ethical in your work and doing and all that, and you will live forever. You may have little less. You may not be the richest. You may not be the top end of the value chain in terms of whatever you're doing. But you will always be valued. And you will not only be valued by the external world that you say, but even those who are close to you. They know that you are good. That makes the world different. Mr. Ratan Tata died last year. Look at what the papers did. Did they talk about how much money he had when he died? No. Did they talk about what is he going to leave, how many hundreds of thousands of crores he is going to leave for his successor? No. They talked about him being a good man, looking for dogs, looking at elderly people, investing into things which made value propositions to that. So I think that is what is there. So he be remembered for that.
Right.
But if tomorrow he was given a value that he was so many thousands of crores of rupees, people would forget him after some time. Nobody would even bother about it. And after 15 days, it disappears. Those monetary values is in uska ghar. And anyway, he can't take it up.
Right, right. True, true. That's a very wonderful philosophy, and it is so important for real estate, which requires trust. I personally believe that real estate and banking system of any country, it requires a similar level of trust among the consumers, right? Because, yeah, perfect. And moving to my next question, sir. Many Indians today are setting up new ventures, but they're also shifting paths very quickly. How important do you think is the concept of long-term vision and commitment for creating more meaningful businesses?
Well, let's understand. One is consistency, but consistency is in the vision that you have. But consistency cannot be in what you're doing to be done and repeated again and again. Because technology is changing, demands are changing, aspirations are changing, new items of products are coming, production values have changed. So even if you're making the same thing, I think you have to be conscious that you're making it differently. And let's take cars, for instance. 1990, 91, we had the Fiat and Ambassador car. The companies were assured by the government, the Maharashtra government for Fiat cars and Ambassador cars. I think the West Bengal government assured them, perennially we'll do it because you are having so many workers to protect the workers, and your cars, you must continue to manufacture the old design, old technology, these cars. What happened? Both the companies disappeared.
Right.
So you can't possibly think of a static situation in business or in anything in life. You have to be dynamic, you have to be a learner, you have to change with the environment. The world changes everything there. Trump comes in and puts in tariffs, the wars are declared, Pakistan creates this problem, insurgency happens. If you're not going to be able to change your method of working according to what the situation is, or the environment is, or the demand is, or the aspirations of the people are, it won't work. So I think while consistency and all these aspects of it is important, but change, improvement, trust, faith, all these things are, I think, more important or equally important.
So, if I can ask you, what is Niranjan Hiranandani's secret of keeping his core team motivated?
I don't know, you should ask them, but I think I give them space. So each one of them has adequate space. We give them a platform, we give them space, we do believe in them. And if they make mistakes, we forgive them. If they make blunders, then we have to do something more serious. But having said that, I think I believe in most of the people who work with me, and I trust them a lot. And they have grown with me. We have people working with me for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 35 years, and 40 years. So obviously, we're doing something right in retaining talent.
So I'll move to my next section. Real estate has gone through multiple shifts, a paradigm shift over the last couple of decades, right? And across all these years, you have not only just built simple buildings, but you have transformed entire neighborhoods and introduced the concept of urban living. I believe you are the first one to bring in the concept of gated communities in India. How did that idea originate, and how do you see the evolution of urban living in India?
Well, I was very fortunate. My father lived in Malabar Hill. Uh, I grew up there, and so it was one of the best places in Mumbai in those days. When I started construction, obviously, I saw bad neighborhoods. Uh, I saw poor quality of construction. I saw neighborhoods which were bad. Uh, I built a project in Lokhandwala complex, 11 buildings, one by one. I didn't have money to buy 11 plots at a time. I bought one plot at a time, built one building, made a good building next, and so on. Every time I completed a building, I looked out of the window. I made a good building. But when I looked out of the building, there were bad footpaths, there were bad roads, there were bad lighting, there was no water supply, there was sewerage, there were electricity failures. And I said, oh my God, how can the quality of life of people be here good just because I've made a good building? So I realized that in there, we formed an association of all the builders in Lokhandwala complex. I redid the roads, did lighting, did sewerage, water supply, and all that stuff. And I was the smallest developer in that area. But I realized that unless you didn't make something in a totality, the quality of life of the people, even if I made good buildings, would not be good. And hence, I took the opportunity of a plot in Powai, and that was starting time. It was far away from the Matic crowd. Nobody lived there, nobody accessed there, bad roads, access and all. But it was a large canvas, and that was all I could afford. I couldn't afford something closer to town. And I worked to see that not only that it would be good as South Bombay, but I thought it should be better than that, which was considered the best area in those days. And when we did that, so we didn't just make individual buildings which were good, but we made the roads, we made the, the gardens, the water supply, the school, the hospital, the colleges, the retail, everything was better. And suddenly we found that we made something extraordinary. I didn't think of it that way. I just thought that that should be what, I would like to live in if I stayed there. And so I also have a house there. So the main thing is that I looked at it that if I was to be a person who bought a house from Niranjan Hiranandani, how would I like that house if I was the customer, not the developer? And I always dreamt that if I can make it such that I would love it, to live there, to work there, to shop there, to be educated there, to be in a hospital there, and make one of the best hospitals in town, I would be happier. And hence, it was not like a business deal, but it was something which I was aspiring to. And then now it's become a habit. So every time I make a new township, the same thing is true. I keep on repeating what I've done before, which is to make it still better.
Perfect. And what were some of the defining movements that shaped Hiranandani Group's growth story?
I don't think there was one thing. I think there were maybe 10,000 things. Like I gave guaranteed waterproofing, probably the first in the city for all the terraces of the building, because I found all the buildings were leaking on the terraces. We created plumbing and others which were different and surety. We created the first and largest sewage recycling plant in Mumbai, 4 million liters per day. I think it's probably one of the biggest in any township, probably in India, that we have. And we have another 4 million liters which we recycle in Thane, besides individual buildings recycling it. Now it's mandated. In those days, there was no mandate. So we made concrete roads in the private layout, which was never there before. So everything we have taken up is to take it to the next level. So every time you make a building, you think, can I make it better? Is there a better design? Can I provide a better service? And we continue to do. And the best part is a large number of people have come, emulated our example, and made good and great buildings and layouts. So today you have many wonderful buildings in the city, in the country, and people are following that. And many of them, builders, developers, and younger people come and tell me, oh, we came and saw your buildings and we've really emulated this, that, and the other, which you have already done 30 years ago. And makes me happy that we can set that good example. So there is nothing that I did, which was given to me by somebody, but I learned things from maybe 10,000 people to do different things better. So it was incremental. You do waterproofing better, you do concrete better, you do paints better, you do, gardens better, you do school better, you do a hospital better. So everywhere, the idea was really, can I better it? And we still continue to do the same.
I really hope more developers, more real estate providers think the same way, because this will change the whole landscape of urban living in India.
Well, lots of young people, developers are doing it.
Right.
They may not be doing it in the size and scale we do, but certainly we do get examples, and I get many of the young developers who come up and then they say, Niranjan sir, please come and see. I want to show you something which I've created. It makes me happy, we have seen your building, but I'm telling you, sir, I've really made a building which is very nice. Will you please come and see it? And we go and see it.
Right. So this is the question I really wanted to ask you. So I came to Mumbai in 2008 and stayed closer to Powai. I loved that ecosystem. I felt that micro market, that small catchment is where it's self-sufficient. I don't need to go out, maybe, for a few meetings and all. I completely loved it around. Now today, in the current real estate landscape, right, if you have to compare a parallel to what Powai once was, which micro market you think has the same potential?
That's my job.
Right.
We identify micro markets all the time.
Right.
So we're doing that. So after we did Powai, we identified Thane, Hiranandani Estate, and thereabouts 3 other projects as a micro market, which we did. When we did that, there were only 2 developers on Godbandar Road. Now there are only 42. In Powai, we were 1, and we are now 21. Next one is Panvel, is a micro market we think is going to grow hugely. And when we went, we were the only one. And just now we have 5 large developers over there next to us. We think Alibag as a hospitality destination will grow hugely in the next 3-4 years. What Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis is talking about as Mumbai 3.0, the Panvel area and all those thereabouts next adjoining airport, new airport which is coming up, is actually going to be a micro market. We work in various other micro markets in Pune. We are working in the periphery of Pune, near Hinjawadi. We have Dharumbre. We are working in Chennai. We have a huge place at Oragadam where we do mixed-use townships, including industrial parks. So we think there are several micro markets which are going to work, and plenty others also, whether in the NCR, whether in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and others, and they have been growing very, very well. Real estate will grow in the next 5 years, a compound of 15% growth annualized. 4 years ago, GDP of contribution of real estate was 7%. It's already 11-12%. At a $5 trillion economy, it will be somewhere between 15 and 20% of $5 trillion.
Right.
So the growth of real estate is probably the fastest in the world in India.
Right.
And imagine the whole Dharavi slums redevelopment, which is going to clear a large amount of portion of land. redevelopment homes in Mumbai, MTHL, the metro, and all the others. I think there's a huge development which is taking place in the real estate. So opportunities of micro markets and urban areas is growing hugely in the next couple of years.
And couple of these redevelopments, they are not just infra projects; they're socio-economic projects. They can improve the life cycle, the overall life, quality of life of a lot of individuals.
Sure. And they are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. And there were old and dilapidated buildings in Mumbai. That's why the policy came in for the purposes of handling old and dilapidated things. And those who couldn't afford it, the government has given subsidies in terms of it. Of course, I have a grouse against the government in terms of the cost of TDR and the other FSI which they are doing, which is making Mumbai very expensive. And so people will go away to other towns and cities because you're making the cost too high. So I think somewhere government will have to correct that action by themselves in order to see that affordable housing can also be made and the cost. They did some correction during COVID where they reduce all these charges by 50%. I think they'll need to do something more longer period than just that COVID period.
True. I agree with that. And so under Hiranandani Group, you do residential, retail, commercial, and all three have very distinct kind of business models. So how do you dabble across these three? And is there any specific business model which you like personally, that this is one segment, resi or retail, which I love it?
No, not really. My passion is about what I do.
Right.
So if my present, I'm looking at a project which is a township, then that's my love and focus. If I'm looking at a portion where I do IT, then we just focus on that. If we're doing schools, colleges, hospitals, then we focus on that. So I love what I do, irrespective of which segment of the area it is, because what we aspire to do is to see, can I create something of excellence in that field or betterment in that than what is already done. So the excitement is the feeling that I'm doing something better than what I did yesterday. I'm not competing with you. I don't worry that somebody is better than me. God bless him. What I do is that what Niranjan did yesterday, can the Niranjan of today be better? And the Niranjan of tomorrow be still better. So as long as God gives me life, I hope that I will continue to be better than yesterday that I was. If I can achieve that, then that is all that I want. I'm not interested to be somebody else. I may learn from somebody else. Somebody can mentor me even without knowing he's mentoring me. I look at him and I see, oh my God, look at the way he's handling this matter. And many times it's just the behavior of a person that I like, and I try to emulate that. But that doesn't mean that I copy it. I do it in my own way. And that's what I believe is there in everything that we do. So whether it is any segment of real estate, or it is education, or it is health, or anything else, I relish it all.
Right. I would love to get your views on the new real estate trends, co-working, co-living, student housing. How do you see these concepts evolving over the next couple of years?
You're in the right business.
Thank you.
The co-working space, I think, will grow exponentially about 20 to 25% compounded per year for the next 5 years.
Right.
So the growth area in terms of co-working space, student housing space, elderly living space, hostel accommodation, these growth areas are going to grow superbly. Right. As far as the co-working spaces are concerned, earlier it was not possible because people like you didn't exist. So there were no professional providers of co-working space where I could get excellence delivered at the entry level. So today when you go to a co-working space, you know that you are guaranteed a certain service providing along with the real estate space.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about XYZ to maintain that building, take care of it, and the service provision in that. The second, which is equally important to most of the people, is the flexibility. If tomorrow I want to grow and take more space, then there is a possibility that this space can be more lucratively used. So I think, and second is that the international best practices are already moving into that area. So what is happening is multinationals are also comfortable with it. GCC is comfortable, BFSI is comfortable with using these spaces. So I think this is something where the growth story is going to be there. And I do believe that at least in the main metros and in the main areas, in the next 5 years, at least 15 to 20% of all commercial spaces may move into this area. So it's a question of how fast and how much you can possibly convince people to move into your space. But I think it's going to be there. There's no need for having the business of buying, furnishing, renting, and all that stuff anymore. You could have an office which is very flexible in terms of it. I think that's the way to go as one of the things. But the other part is also equally interesting, which is the elderly home. Nuclear families are happening, the children are not able to stay with the parents. I think elderly housing is going to really work. What I hate about elderly housing is the fact that you believe that you should segregate these elderly people into some remote corner of the world. I think that's terrible. You need to mix elderly people with the rest of society, with younger people, with grandchildren aged people, nearer schools. Of course, you need hospital and healthcare. But don't segregate the people where they see only old people. I mean,
that's true. That's true.
I think that's a mistake.
Right.
So all the people who are doing elderly thing must have they should have schools next to it. Bring the grandchildren type of children to come and play with them, talk to them, enjoy with them, have fun with them. So I think that's the mistake we are making. We shouldn't try to copy the American pattern where the elderly live only with the elderly. I think we are social creatures where we like children and grandchildren to be near us. So that's the mistake in the case of elderly housing. On the student housing, hostel accommodation and co-living is the next generation is going to be there. So you're going to get housing now, huge number of people who will live in that type of environment. It's not taken off. My prediction, next 5 years, you'll have big segment of co-living in terms of spaces, which would be as fast as, so maybe you can take up the business of that also, along with your office co-working.
So this is very interesting, and I love your views on elderly care. I personally have looked at that business model, and I always thought there's a stigma attached to creating a separate kind of a place. I mean, the way you've explained, it's a very straightforward and simple way to do it.
This segregating communities and segregating older people, and it's such criminal activity.
Yeah,
I think you need to.
And
I think there should be a law against it. I think
it does not resonate with our society and our culture as well.
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay. Moving to my next question, what are your views on artificial intelligence and its impact on real estate and urban development?
Artificial intelligence will touch every part of your life. It's nothing to do with housing. It has nothing to do with. It has to do with everything. If there is anybody not using artificial intelligence in the next 2 years, he is going to be out of date. So whether you're making a house, whether you're designing a house, whether you're constructing a house, whether you're monitoring, whether you're engineering, whether you're doing project monitoring, whether you're a lawyer, whether you're a teacher, you name the subject. My view is the whole judicial system will change because of AI. So these millions of cases lying in various courts will be sorted out by AI in the next 5 years. We'll have 0 pending cases. Similarly, in every field of endeavor, AI will come. AI is a tool. It's like your phone. It's like your computer. It's like your knife. It's a tool. Now, you can use your knife to cut bread and cut vegetables, and you can use knife to kill somebody. AI is going to be fantastic. You use the AI as a positive tool, it's going to be a fabulous instrument of use. You can use AI to create fake news, you can use AI to do all wrong things also. So, how we use AI is important. AI is only a new tool. It's a brand new, sexy, attractive tool. Don't abuse the tool. Use it lucrative. That's all. So, real estate, marketing, name it, everything will be AI. You'll be able to predict what time it will rain in Mumbai, and how much rain will come and how much flooding will take place, because AI will be a tool which will tell you all that. Yeah, the government will know what is, how to take care of it, and they will tell them, you give them a holiday, children holiday tomorrow, because your roads are going to be flooded, and it will be flooded at that time. That's the extent of meteorological changes which are going to take place. So AI is important, but we have to be very careful to see that the tool is positively and lucratively used and quickly used, which is fantastic to be done. And I'm looking forward to this new tool.
Perfect. And by any chance, do you dabble with any tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity? You started dabbling with it?
Do I have a choice? Of course I use it. Not as well as my son uses it, and not as well as my grandchildren use it, and I am not as good as so many of the experts use it. But yes, the answer is I do use it, and I want to keep learning how to use it better. I don't know properly how to use the prompt, but I know how to use some of it. So, I mean, they tell me you must use the prompt this way and don't use it this way. I'm learning.
Superb, superb. So, before we wrap up, I'd like to shift gears and get into a rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Sure.
What's a myth about you that you wish people would stop believing?
I think the myth about me is that I'm a hard-nosed businessman. I think I'm not. I'm still the soft son of a professional doctor, and I continue to be inside me. But I think the facade around me is that I'm a very clever businessman.
So, what trait do you value most in a relationship?
Trust, empathy, care, love. I think all this is important.
Yeah. Your favorite Bollywood celebrity?
Oh, nobody else but Amitabh Bachchan. There cannot be a second man.
Right. So, if you had one more chance to speak to your father, what would you talk to him about?
I think I would listen to him. Even at the age of 80s, late 80s, 90s also, I kept learning from him. So I would be a good listener, because there was a combination of factors which really happened. And I realized that he also constantly learned, and I could learn from his experience and wisdom rather than just something. So the combination of the knowledge that we had accumulated with the wisdom that we get from them is quite different. And I was very attached to him. So there was kind of a special relationship.
What's your favorite way to celebrate success?
Party. I love to party.
Right.
So it's always fun.
If real estate had a matchmaking platform for buildings, which city would Mumbai match with?
Which city would Mumbai match with? I think more New York.
So this brings us to an end of this exciting episode of the Corner Office. So thank you very much for your time. It's been an honor and privilege to be speaking to you and getting insights from you. Everyone from real estate fraternity and a lot of entrepreneurs are big fan of yours, and we get a lot of inspiration from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the conversation. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Corner Office. Stay tuned for more episodes featuring the who's who of corporate India. I am your host, Sumit Lakhani.